Hey everyone, a happy Saturday to you. I'm just driving back from Santa Clara and I really need something to get my mind off of my last grappling match. Didn't really go my way. It sucked, but that's in the past. There's a good looking fight tomorrow. UFC Fight Night. It's going to be the main event's going to be Dan Henderson versus Mauricio Shogun Rua. Not the most relevant fight out there. Both men have seen better days. I'd say they're on the latter halves of their career. I'd say more like the latter eighths of their respective careers. They both first ballot Hall of Famers, for whatever that's worth in the UFC. This will be a rematch. The first time they fought, it was a fight of the year candidate. It was an excellent fight. Dan Henderson won the decision. It was somewhat disputed, though. It was a fight that really could have gone either way. 10-8 rounds exchanged on both ends, depending on your respective scorecards. I'm really looking forward to this fight as a separate entity. This fight doesn't really mean much. I don't feel that either man is going to challenge for the light heavyweight belt anytime soon, or probably for the rest of their careers. Which isn't really. I don't mean that with negative connotations either. They both don't really have anything left to prove. Dan Henderson, former Pride light heavyweight and middleweight champion. Mauricio Shogun Rua, former UFC light heavyweight champion. You know, their records speak for themselves. They're both fantastic fighters that, you know, have really cemented their legacy. And this fight is really just going to be one for the fans. I'm actually surprised it's taken this long for a rematch to occur, given how excellent the first fight was and how exciting it was. But it's a fight that I'm really looking forward to, and I would imagine a lot of other people as well. As far as the matchup goes, I feel I don't really see stylistically this match playing out differently than the first one. Both fighters have definitely aged, but stylistically they're still the same fighter. Dan Henderson still has a granite chin despite getting knocked out by Vitor Belfort. Mauricio Shogun Rua is still a very durable fighter with just basically walking on severed limbs almost, with how messed up his knee is and how many surgeries he's had. His knees are basically, you know, silly putty at this point. But they both swing hard. They're both finishers, knockout artists. You know, I could see this as a back and forth battle. Dan Henderson starting out strong. Dan Henderson, his best chance to win this fight, in my opinion, is within the first 2 or 3 rounds, maybe even the first round. This is a guy that gets tired very quick, not because he doesn't have good cardio, but more so because he punches so hard, so much. Anyone at any weight would get tired throwing as many bolos as Dan Henderson does in a fight. And then Shogun, he throws a lot of offense out as well, and he gets tired as well. They're somewhat sloppy fighters, but both very, very effective. Dan Henderson, despite his impressive wrestling pedigree as a former Olympic wrestler, hasn't shown the best takedown offense in MMA. He's got a Greco background. He sometimes gets tired in fights, gives up takedowns, and furthermore gives up position sometimes. A good grappler on top of Dan Henderson can mean trouble for him. And Shogun is a very good grappler. Doesn't have the best takedown. Well, Shogun doesn't have the best takedown defense. His takedown offense is surprisingly pretty good. And that's something that I could definitely see happening in this fight, especially later in the fight. If Mauricio Shogun Rua sets up a takedown with some nice punches, maybe gets a body lock and a trip, I could definitely see him getting on top of Dan Henderson and doing some tangible damage. And, you know, Dan Henderson does not have a good guard. He's never been offensive off of his back. Doesn't even really try to take the fight to the ground these days, which I think he'd really be best served doing. Not really for submissions, but he's had some effective ground and pound in times past. But as I view the fight, I think it's going to be a decision or possibly submission for Shogun would probably be my best bet. Simply because I feel that if you look at the last fight, Shogun really exploited Dan Henderson in the 5th round by just taking him down, passing his guard like butter. And I feel like if Shogun can do that earlier in the fight with more mileage to give, I definitely think he can win the fight by submission. Shogun only has one submission victory, but he's still a very high-level grappler. This guy's got a sick half-guard sweep. He's got very good guard passes. It just so happens to be that his ground and pound has been so good, he's never needed to resort to getting submissions. He's always gotten ground and pound TKO victories. And in this fight, Dan Henderson is not a guy that's just going to lie down and take a ground and pound beating. I could see Shogun passing guard, maybe going. He's got very aggressive leg lock attempts, does Shogun. I could definitely see Shogun trying to lace up a heel hook, maybe a knee bar, maybe even getting a slick guillotine or rear naked choke on a scramble. I definitely favor Shogun in this, but I still think there's a very high likelihood that Dan Henderson can put out Shogun's lights within the first 3 rounds, or who knows, maybe even in another slugfest of a decision where both guys mollywop each other for 25 minutes. But if I have to pick one, definitely picking Shogun by submission late in the fight, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. But hopefully they can replicate some of the magic they put forth in the first fight. It really will be it really is a match that I'm looking forward to very much so, despite the lack of relevancy in the division.